Jeep headed for outing overturns, 3 dead, 12 injured. Misunderstanding eyed as motive in shooting of supermarket employee by security guard at Festive Walk Mall in Mandurriao District. Newborn baby boy found abandoned inside a baobab in the municipality of Caraga, the province of Davao del Norte. And peso may weaken further as inflation risk heighten. Good evening, I'm Apolinario Ferdinand de Valencia, and this is Philippine Headlines. In Luzon, the jeep headed for outing overturns, 3 dead, 12 injured. 3 relatives, including a child, were killed while 12 others were injured after the jeep they were riding reportedly lost its brakes and overturned in Barangay Fortuna in the municipality of Socorro, the province of Oriental Mindoro on Sunday. According to the Socorro Municipal Police Station, the victims from Gloria, Oriental Mindoro were their way to a river for a family outing when the incident happened along a downhill and curved portion of the road. To allegedly avoid falling into a ravine, the driver crashed the jeep into a tree, causing the vehicle to overturn. The injured victims were immediately rushed to Grace Mission Hospital for treatment. The authorities are continuing their investigation into the incident. In Visayas, misunderstanding eyed as motive in shooting of supermarket employee by security guard at Festive Walk Mall in the Mandurriao district. A shallow reason for or misunderstanding is being considered by the Iloilo City Police Station 5 as the motive behind the shooting of a supermarket employee by a security guard inside a supermarket at Festive Walk Mall in Mandurriao district in the city of Iloilo at around 4 p.m. on May 10. The victim was identified as Jomai Mark Palion, while the suspect was identified as 37-year-old Joseph Libuna Claudio, a security guard employee by Mabuhay International Security. According to Police Captain Jobert Amado, officer in charge of ICPS 5, the victim and another companion allegedly threw trash while the suspect was accompanied by 2 other individuals. The security guard allegedly threw the 2 were talking about him, prompting him to confront them while they were heading back inside the supermarket. While inside the grocery store, the victim asked the suspect what his problem was. At that point, the security guard allegedly drew his firearm and shot the victim. The victim sustained a gunshot wound to the chest and was immediately rushed to the hospital while he underwent surgery. Meanwhile, the suspect surrendered to authorities and is now under the custody of Iloilo City Police Station 5. The security guard may face a murder charge.
Oo, why man ko na impito gid ko sa kuan nga side nga muhon nga ko.
In Mindanao, the newborn baby boy found abandoned inside a baobab in the municipality of Caraga in the province of Davao del Norte. A newborn baby boy was found abandoned inside a baobab in Purok Rose in Barangay Poblacion in the municipality of Caraga, the province of Davao Oriental on May 10. According to the report, a resident woke up after hearing dogs barking and a baby crying outside their house, leading to the discovery of the infant placed inside a vehicle. The Caraga Municipal Police immediately responded and brought the baby to the Municipal Health Center for medical care. The authorities have also coordinated with the MSWDO for the child's protection while the investigation continues to identify the infant's parents. In the other news, 44 degrees Celsius heat index expected to hit for areas this Mother's Day. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration or PAG-ASA warned on Sunday of a possible dangerous 44 degrees Celsius heat index or feels-like temperature in 4 areas across the country. This is expected to be the highest heat level to be experienced this Mother's Day, prompting authorities to advise families planning to go outdoors to exercise extreme caution. Aside from the 4 areas expected to experience the most intense heat, 22 other locations in the Philippines are also under the danger level category. According to the Weather Bureau, this level of heat is enough to pose serious health risks such as heat cramps and heat exhaustion. Experts also warn that prolonged exposure to extreme heat may lead to life-threatening heat stroke. As a precaution, the public is encouraged to drink plenty of water, stay in cool areas, and avoid strenuous activities under direct sunlight between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. In business update, peso may weaken further as inflation risks heighten. The peso may remain under pressure in the near term as elevated oil prices and rising inflation keeps the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas on a tightening path despite signs of softer domestic demands, analysts said. In its Asia FX outlook, MUFG Bank said the peso is expected to further depreciate in the remaining weeks of the second quarter before recovering later in the year. As the currency bears the impact of higher imports costs, second-round inflation effects, the tighter financial conditions. MUFG sees the peso weakening to 62 to a dollar by the end of the second quarter under its baseline scenario before recovering to 61.50 in the third quarter, 61 by the fourth quarter, and 60.50 by the first quarter of 2027. Under an adverse scenario, the peso could weaken to 62.50 in the second quarter and 63 in the third quarter. In a severe scenario, the exchange rate could hit 63 in the second quarter and 64.50 in the third quarter. The Philippines is seen to be among the more vulnerable economies in the region because of its dependence on the imported energy. The country sources about 95% of its crude oil imports from the Middle East, while its overall external energy dependency stood at 78%. MUFG's raised its baseline inflation forecast for the Philippines to 6% this year, citing oil assumptions, second-round effects on food prices, and risk from the possible Super El Nino event later this year. It expects the BSP to raise rates by another 75 basis points under its base case, bringing the key policy rate to 5.25%. Higher costs and tighter financial conditions could keep Philippine growth at around 3.5% this year, MUFG said. In riskier scenarios, MUFG said inflation could rise to 7.5% or even as high as 10%, while growth could slow sharply or even contract under a severe case. HSBC senior ASEAN economist Aris Takanay likewise said the BSP is still likely to tighten policy despite the sharp slowdown in the economic growth as inflation pressures have become more difficult to ignore. The Philippine economy grew by 2.8% in the first quarter, slower than the 3% expansion in the fourth quarter of 2025 and the 5.4% growth recorded in the same period last year. Looking ahead, HSBC said growth could average 3.4% this year under an adverse scenario where oil prices remains at or above $100 per barrel until September as government spending takes a backseat and household consumption remains weak. Dakane said the BSP's policy response would likely be guided by the principle of who can best do what. He said the weakness in growth is mainly tied to the slowdown in government spending, which means fiscal action would be a more effective tool to revive economic activity. Monetary policy, on the other hand, is better suited to containing the second-round effects of higher fuel and food prices. HSBC said a 50 basis point rate hike remains possible in June if oil prices stay or above $100 per barrel. Another option, it said, would be for the BSP to smooth its tightening cycle through an off-cycle 35 basis point rate hike before the June policy meeting. And that is Philippine Headlines this Monday, May 11, 2026. I'm Apolinario, 30 Dignadisi Valencia, and this is Salakot Online Broadcasting Network. Good night, Philippines. Amping kasadya.